Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and for that I'm joined on the line by Dr. Jun-sok, professor of economics at the Catholic University of Korea. Professor Yang, good afternoon. Thank you as always for making time today.
Happy to be here.
Well, last Friday, stocks on Wall Street continued their decline on concerns about inflation and what that means for interest rates. The Dow off for a third session in a row, now below 33,000 points. What's the story in the global markets as we start a new week?
Okay, well, on Friday, Dow went down by 0.85%, S&P down by 1.11%, NASDAQ by 0.97%, and as a week as a whole, Dow went down by 0.85% for the week, and the S&P went down by 1.11% for the week, and NASDAQ by 0.95% for the week. And December so far, Dow has went down by 5.8%, S&P down by 5.6%, and NASDAQ by 6.7%. This is the second consecutive week where the U.S. market indices has experienced losses. But the partial reason for the loss on Friday in particular was that it was an option expiration day. But still, because the downward trend is continuing, the hopes of Santa rally is fading very quickly, and the market investors seem to finally realize that Fed is hawkish. Fed has been giving consistent signals that they will be raising the interest rate for longer and higher than what they previously said. But somehow the market seemed to be not have trusted them as much. They thought that the market Fed would lower the rates sometime early in the next year, but that hope is finally getting dashed. U.S. analysts are still a bit mixed on whether U.S. will go into recession in 2023 or whether that recession will be serious. While initial reports had said that Thanksgiving sales were up, when the U.S. Department of Commerce, looking at November sales, is saying that November sales was down 0.6% month to month. It was led by a decline in sales of motor vehicles, furniture, and building materials. Sales at U.S. department stores and non-store retailers were also seen to be down. While there is some question on whether this decline is a trend, fourth quarter consumption is expected to be somewhat higher than last year, but first quarter consumption is expected to fall. The yield curve inversion, which signals a possible recession, is still strong. Year to date for the United States, Dow is down by 10%, S&P down by 19.7%, and NASDAQ is down by 32.4%. For the Asian market, Friday, Nikkei and Shanghai was down, though Shanghai was down very slightly, so it was pretty close to being even. Hang Seng was up 0.42%. There are surging COVID cases in China, which is making the market somewhat nervous there. Schools have been shut down in Shanghai City, so that may have affected the Shanghai stock market as well. According to World Economics Sales Manager Survey, business confidence in China is falling to all-time lows, and the managers expect China to go into recession in 2023. Europe, the markets, DAX, FTSE, and CAC were all down on Friday. That reflects the EU Central Bank raising its interest rate from 1.5 to 2.0%. The rate increase also took place in United Kingdom and Switzerland. The EU Central Bank is also signaling future increases, and the inflation rate for November for the Eurozone is now over 10% for the month of November. The European Union Central Bank has also published its expectations for inflation in 2022 and 2023. The inflation rate for 2022 is thought to be 8.4 averaged for the entire Eurozone. 2023 is expected to be 6.3. That compares worse than the United States personal consumption expenditure inflation numbers, projections, which the Fed published last week. The U.S. expected PCE inflation is only expected to be 5.6% in 2022 and 3.1% in 2023. So next year it'll be Europe, which will be facing a serious recession. The trading in Europe just started. Only FTSE's number is available right now, but it's down about 1.3%.
Well, Korean stocks saw a moderate decline today, fairly light volume. Shares of Hyundai Motor at a 52-week low. Kia Motors almost there, too. Samsung Electronics was flat, a big decline for Samsung SDI, though. Tell us about the domestic market.
Okay, well, last week, Kospi was down 1.2%, Kosdaq was down 0.3%, and Korean won depreciated by 0.5%. But today, Kospi is down 0.33%, ended today at 2,352.17. Kosdaq is down 0.03%, but it was almost level. It ended at 717.22. For both indices, individuals and foreigners sold and institutions bought. Korean won appreciated 0.61% today, and it ended today at 1,304 won per dollar. Monthly, the last 30 days, Kospi has fallen by 2.8%, Kosdaq by 0.2%, and Korean won has appreciated by about 2.8%. Interestingly, though, the past month, gas and electricity-related stocks have gone up. TEPCO stocks have risen by about 11.9%, Korea Gas Corporation by about 4.11%. It seems to reflect hope by investors that rise in prices of natural gas and planned rate increases will improve profitability of these firms. So it's questionable whether the rising fuel prices and the rate will actually turn these companies around. It's not expected these firms will go into black this year. And hopes of Santa Rally in Korea is disappearing as well as foreigners continue to leave the market. And like other countries, money seems to be moving from active mutual funds to index funds as the market uncertainty increases and people are setting preference for reducing fund management costs rather than paying for active managers. The Korean won for the last month has depreciated by about 9.6%. That is similar to about the depreciation for the Korean won depreciated for the year by 9.61%. Kospi for the year down by 21.3%, and Kosdaq down for the year by 30.9%.
Well, Professor, this week we'll see producer prices for November. They've been rising since September, up in October by 0.5%. So the question is whether we'll see producer prices rise for a third month in a row. Of course, this being a barometer for future consumer inflation. What's on your radar, Professor, in the week ahead?
Okay, well, November producers prices is coming out on Thursday. And then there are some interesting but older numbers and specialized numbers coming out from Statistics Korea, like 2021 child care leave figures, 2021 regional income figures, and 2021 individual business survival rates. Now, foreign numbers are perhaps more interesting. On Tuesday, People's Bank of China will reveal their preferred lending interest rates. On Tuesday, Bank of Japan will meet for their interest rate meeting as well. And on Thursday, the U.S. Consumer Board will reveal Consumer Confidence Index for this month. On Thursday, United Kingdom will have its third quarter GDP numbers. And on Friday, U.S. Personal Consumption Expenditure and Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, which is the primary number that the U.S. Fed looks for inflation. And they will also, U.S. will also have existing and new housing sales numbers, which will give some indication on whether U.S. will go into a recession or not.
All right, Professor, we'll have to leave it there for today and check in again later this week. Thank you, as always, for coming on the program. We appreciate your insights.
Thank you.